What's up everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to take a look at the all-new 2023 Nissan Altima. Big shout out and thank you to Flo Nissan of Statesville for providing this new sedan for today's video. Definitely check out the link to their website, linked down below. And the model that we're looking at today is a 2.5 SR front-wheel drive sedan, finished off in deep blue pearl, and has an MSRP at $29,900. Underneath the hood of this all-new 2023 Nissan Altima, you're going to find a 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. It pumps out 188 horsepower with 180 pound-feet of torque, and it sends the power through a CVT transmission to the front wheels. Curb weight is around 3,300 pounds, and it runs on a 16.2 gallon fuel tank, so you're looking at 27 miles per gallon in the city with 37 out on the highway. Overall length is 192.9 inches with wheelbase at 112.2. Height is 56.8 and width is 72.9 inches. And then now moving on to the exterior styling with the 2023 Nissan Altima, you can see how the front end is a lot more aggressive and stylish comparing it to the previous generation. We get a really nice set of LED headlights. If I tap the lock button, you can see how the color changes, has a pretty cool DRL. It also has a blacked out housing with the LED headlight, really nice sunken into the bodywork, and I love the chrome trim running underneath that all the way down towards the lower portion of the bumper. You can see some really sharp lines all throughout the side with some gloss black trim, and I love the new grille. It's finished off in gloss black. We get a massive Nissan logo right in the center with your SR badge on the far side. Really cool design for the mesh, and I like how the front end comes together very nicely. You can also see how the upper area of this grille even has some more body color with some sharp lines leading their way into the hood. They fade all the way towards the windshield, and I think the front end really comes together well. As we make our way to the side profile, we get a split 5-spoke design for these wheels, finished in a two-tone color. They're 19 inches in diameter, and we even get the SR badge into the metal. Really cool layout with a sharp line around the front fender. Then you can see some pretty sharp lines in the lower portion of these doors. There's a sharp line going from the side of the hood all the way into the upper portion of these side doors. It goes all the way into the rear end, and then it kind of splits into another secondary sharp line through the rear door handle. You do get a set of body colored door handles, and then gloss black mirror caps, and then some gloss black on the upper area surrounding the windows with a gloss black B-pillar, and then chrome trim in the lower sides. Taking a look at the side profile, it's a pretty proportional sedan. This is a pretty typical mid-size sedan, so the sizing is very nice. And I especially like on the C-pillar, you can see the gloss black kind of making the roof look like a floating design. It's really nice how it split that, and you can see the really sharp line cutting all the way towards this taillight. As we make our way to the rear end, we get a set of LED taillights with a red housing. They're sunken into the bodywork very well. We get the SR badge and a nice lip spoiler, and then the new Nissan badge right in the center finished in gray. We also get Altima in a metallic gray color, and some nice lines going through the center with a chrome trim piece underneath the trunk lid. We get all of your parking sensors back here as well, and a really cool look for this rear diffuser. You can see the gloss black trim as well as a mesh design, and then your dual exhaust system. And the rear end really comes together to match all the lines to make this car look nice. So there's a good look at the exterior design with the 2023 Nissan Altima. I like the facelift. It looks really cool, super sporty, and just looks a lot more aggressive than before. So we have Nissan's key fob. You get the new Nissan badge, even blacked out a little bit, which is pretty cool. And then we do get remote start. However, if I go ahead and lock the car, you can hear it lock. And with the key, just keeping it in my pocket, I can grab the door handle, press the button, unlock it, and we can check out this interior. This particular spec is going to feature the sport interior. You're going to see a nice black vinyl along with a really cool design for some fabric trim and then red stitching. Moving our way to the door panel, you can see how it's finished off in black. We get this black vinyl with the red stitching all throughout it, some soft padding for your armrest as well as a grab handle, window controls, lock and unlock, and then mirror controls, and your release handles up above that with a nice silver trim piece. You can see some storage in the lower portion. And moving our way to these seats, we have all of your power controls on the left side, smooth black leather material with more of the contrast stitching. We get a perforated design as well, and then more smooth material. I really like this cool fabric. It has a nice stripe right in the center with a design making its way all the way up through the backrest. Really cool design for these seats. You see more of the stitching up on the headrest, and then spinning around we get a flat bottom steering wheel with the new Nissan badge and silver trim, and then the same red stitching. And then now inside the 2023 Nissan Altima, keeping my foot on the brake, we can go ahead and press the button and fire it up. The infotainment screen will turn on, as well as a cool animation in the center gauge cluster screen. You can see an analog tach on the left with engine temperature, speedometer on the right with your fuel, and you can control that center screen using the pad on the left side of the steering wheel. So taking a look right now, you can see your digital speed readout. You can scroll up and down in this menu, see just a few different items, and then scrolling left and right, you have a lot of different settings within the car. As you can see, you can continue scrolling through here and view all sorts of different items. Continuing over, we have some safety information. We also have audio controls that will come up. And then you can also go over into trip information, scroll up and down through here. And then we can also go into the fuel economy and view some of that information. If we take a look at the steering wheel now, we have those controls on the left, some Bluetooth and audio controls, and then cruise control settings on the right with a few more Bluetooth controls. Even though this is a CVT, we still get steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. You can take a manual shift mode, which is a pretty cool touch. You can see headlight controls and turn signals on the left side, and then all of your windshield wipers to the right. And then on the left side of the steering wheel, we have your trip reset, as well as the interior dimming, and then the trunk release button. One of your air vents, and then black going across the top of the dash. You can see more of that stitching around the gauge cluster. And then on the far right side, we get a pretty cool textured material with a gloss silver trim piece. And then moving to the center infotainment screen, you can see the information right now. We have Apple CarPlay available. Tapping the menu icon, you can kind of get a basic look at how everything is laid out. It's pretty simple in here. We have the clock as well as a customizing button, and you can also see Bluetooth and audio controls. We have your phone integration that you can set up, along with audio connections that will come up. And then we have connections info, and then tapping into settings, you can see a few more items that will come up all the way into camera and other and apps. And then if I go ahead and put this into reverse, the backup camera will come up. It has decent graphics on it, and you get some guidelines right in the center. And if I go ahead and put it back into park, underneath the screen we have all those physical controls, shortcuts to the camera icon. You can see the settings on that, menu, audio, and then a few more. We have your hazards right in the center along with 2 air vents, and then climate controls underneath that. Fan speed is on the left with your temperature on the right, and then all the different zones right in the center. We even get some storage down below with some USB ports, auxiliaries, and a 12 volt. Then a nice shift boot with some more of that stitching. Same with this leather vinyl material on the side. We get a little bit of storage in the center, and then more stitching and the black vinyl material right in the center on this armrest. Opening that up, we have a pretty good amount of storage space in here, and then the glove box itself is a pretty large bucket, as you would expect. One last look at the interior now. Pretty simple the way everything is laid out. However, for the price point and everything, it's a nice sporty interior with all the features that you really need to have a nice modern car. Up top, we get some dome light controls and the lights, a sunglass holder, and then your mirror. And then moving to the rear seat space, if I grab the door handle and open it up, the door panel is finished off just like we saw up front with the same vinyl as well as the contrast stitching. And then the back seats have the same stitching material and all the same fabric. Has a really good look. This can seat 3 people back here. We can also grab the center and pull this down. You get a nice armrest as well as 2 cup holders. And then the only amenities you really get are the 2 USB ports as well as a storage cuggy. So then hopping into the back of this Nissan Altima, I'm 5'11", sitting back here. I have like an inch or so of headroom, and even with the driver's seat set at my height, I have plenty of knee room as well as foot room. It's a pretty roomy mid-size sedan, quite honestly. You have your grab handles up top, dome lights on the roof as well, and then big glass, so you have a lot of visibility back here. And the seats are at a pretty good recline. You have fixed headrests, so they don't move up and down. But honestly, this is not too bad. Pretty comfortable. Good armrest on the left as well as in the center, and definitely a roomy car. Moving on to the trunk, we have a button on the key fob, the one on the interior, and of course there's one right underneath the Nissan badge. You can pop that and open up the trunk. You get a really large opening in here, and you can see just how much space there is in the trunk of a Nissan Altima. Definitely a very useful sedan. And then up above, you can pull these down, you get some extra hooks, and then there's a button on each side that you can pull and manually pop unlock the rear seats. And then after pulling the seats down, you can see just how much more storage you're gonna get in the back of a Nissan Altima. They fold down nearly flat, and you get a pretty decent size opening into the trunk, and then a lot of room up in front to make this a very useful car. All right, so we are setting off now in the Nissan Altima. So the naturally aspirated engine, front wheel drive. This is more of a basic power plant compared to other ones. You can get a turbo or you can even get all wheel drive with this particular engine. So normal driving now, we are going about 40 something miles an hour. It's pretty comfortable. These seats are really nicely padded. I'm really comfortable sitting in here. Great visibility. You can see we have a huge windshield. All the mirrors seem to do a really good job letting me know what's going on behind me. And then over my left and right shoulder, the glass is huge in this car. There's really no blind spot. It is really, really easy just to see out and to drive this car like a normal car. Going 45 around these turns, accelerating a little bit. It's a pretty stable vehicle. The suspension does a great job just absorbing the bumps. I mean, this is just a nice, normal, comfortable car. If you're just looking for efficiency, affordability, and just a practical, normal car, this is something to look at. It really seems like just a nice, normal car to drive. Let's test out this power getting up and going. So we have the smaller engine as far as power, but giving it some gas. I mean, nothing too incredible. However, that was up to 50 miles an hour without really straining the engine. So even this one having, less power than the turbo, not too bad. It gets up to speed as you would expect. One thing pretty cool though, being a CVT transmission, which doesn't have any gears in it, this drives like it is a normal transmission with gears in it. You can see it actually shifting, the RPMs change as you accelerate, which is a pretty cool touch. And then when you do go into the manual mode and shift with these paddle shifters, it genuinely feels like a normal transmission. I think Nissan does make the best CVT that I've ever driven. It really just feels like a normal transmission. I love that aspect. I'm not the biggest fan of the normal CVTs. They're just a little boring to me, but this one feels a lot better than that. It feels like a normal transmission and it delivers the power really well. All right, so setting off now my perspective, honest thoughts of the new Nissan Altima. It's a nice normal car, honestly. This power plant is okay. I mean, good efficiency, decent enough power to get up to speed. The typical person buying this, is not gonna have any issues. I personally like the turbo engine available, which is a lot more powerful. It's pretty quick and pretty surprising to be in. But this normal car though, honestly, just nice, normal, and comfortable. My only complaint really is the turn signal. It is really loud and kind of just a high-pitched annoying sound. So that's the only thing that's kind of annoying with the car. Just a pretty bad sound for the turn signal. But other than that, normal driving, it's smooth and it feels pretty refined. I think Nissan has done a good job from kind of going from just a cheap Asian brand to a good affordable Asian brand. Kind of like, Hyundai and Kia were kind of in the same boat. They were just cheap, junky cars 10 years ago. Nissan was kind of at that level with the Asian market. Obviously, the Toyotas and the Hondas have always been the top dogs. But when you look at the new Nissans, I think Nissan really is turning themselves around and making some nice cars at good prices. That's something that has really impressed me, especially these days with the markets being so crazy. The average price of a new car is like $45,000 or something ridiculous like that. This car being $30,000 and you still get quite a lot of safety tech, some technology in the car and everything. It's a pretty budget-friendly car that offers a lot. It doesn't feel like it's a cut corners car. Obviously, it's not real leather in here or anything like that. This particular spec doesn't get nav or a sunroof, but you can get all that for in that $30,000 mark and get a pretty good, well-optioned car that you can depend on. So I kind of like what Nissan's doing. They're just giving you good, affordable options now. That turn signal, I hope it comes off on camera. But they're giving you good, affordable options, and they're pretty stylish. This new 2023, I like the new front end. The grille looks just super cool, and it really does come together. And I like how with the interior, while there's nothing too fancy, we don't get a massive screen or anything crazy, is kind of old school technology, nothing really new in this car. But that's why it's priced so low. 30 grand, pretty affordable for pretty much anybody, and you get the basics. You get what you want, nothing extra and above and beyond, but you get a pretty up-to-date, modern, normal car that is just easy to drive. And the practicality and space, this is really roomy and it just really is just a nice overall car. But that is about it then for the 2023 Nissan Altima. Pretty cool option for sure if you're looking for a good affordable sedan. This is definitely something to put on the list for just a nice normal car. Big shout out and thank you once again to Flo Nissan of Statesville. Thanks for them for providing this car for today's video. Definitely check out the link to their website linked below. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for plenty more content, and I'll see you all in the next video.